presentation is Japanese calligraphy, past and present. My name is Alfred Vendrell, and these are the rest of the fine people that helped me put this together. And we spent the past couple of weeks actually trying to get familiarized with Japanese calligraphy, because this class is not initially about calligraphy. It kind of developed out of the Japanese literary tradition that we were studying. And this, I believe, is one of the things that's helping to create and initiate the Japanese calligraphy class for the next semester. If any of you guys are interested in taking that, this is probably going to give you a little bit of an idea of what that's going to look like and how that's going to feel. So let's get started.
Hi, I'm Taylor. I actually did the Japanese aesthetic ideals instead of some literature, but the aesthetic ideals have everything to do with the literature. They're why people write, how they write, and why the calligraphy looks the way it does. Okay, the first one is mono no awari. Mono no awari is empathy towards things that are impermanent. So things that won't always be there, it's an appreciation of that. The person who coined the term is actually Motori Norinaga with the Tale of Genji, which is a very important piece of literature in our class. Mono means things, and awari is actually a Heian era expression which expresses surprise. So it's a surprise at something. And this is my calligraphy of it, mono no awari. The next one is miyabi. It's a polishing of manners and feelings and a way to present yourself. It's about achieving the highest grace possible, but miyabi is also beauty for the beautiful. So not a lot of peasants practice this. It was more of a noble thing. There were also several rules of beauty, such as what you can and cannot compare people to in poetry. And this is miyabi. The next one is wabi-sabi, which is beauty in the imperfect, impermanent, and the incomplete. It's all about asymmetry, so if you want a good picture of it, think of the Zen rock gardens, but instead of everything being in straight lines, it would be like unequal triangles and one rock over here and another one over here. Wabi means rustic simplicity, so like the rock gardens. Sabi is beauty or serenity that comes with age. And those are several things that you will see this in. And this is wabi, sabi. It's one word that looks better on 2 pages. This is yugen, which is profound and mysterious sense of beauty. It's being mystical without being mystical. It's mysticism on earth. It's closely linked to the No plays, which is by Zaimi Motokyo, and he's sort of what elevated yugen to what it became.
My name's Melissa. My focus was on the ancient period. The ancient period was from the time until 794 AD. In this period, you'll find the 2 most common poem forms. You have the choka, which is the long form, and we also have the tanka. And you'll recognize the tanka because later, well, at this point, the syllables were 5, 7, 5, 7, 7. Later, it will become haiku, and they'll drop off the last 2 lines of 7. In the ancient period, most of the poems were written in Menryogana, and you'll see on this chart, it's the top characters in each of the boxes. Later, they'll also become hiragana. One of the most influential poets in this time period was Kakinomoto no Hitomaru. There's not a lot of information about him. They're not quite sure when he was born. They kind of estimated that he died sometime before 710 AD. They do know through his poems, though, that he was a middle-ranking courtier, and he served 3 sovereigns. He's most known for his techniques, Makuro Kodoba, which is his pillow words, and also his use of parallelism. In most of his poems, they're about court, But he also wrote poems that moved him emotionally, like when he left for trips and he left his wife behind, the death of his wife, and upon seeing a dead corpse. He is also one of the 36 Poetry Immortals, which is a really high esteem for poets. This is one of my favorite poems that he wrote. This is in the Menyoshu. It's a really important collection of poems. It says, Akiyama ni otoro momichi ga shimashiku wa nichiri maga so imo no atari wimu. And this is Donald King's translation. Oh yeah, leaves falling on the autumn hill, cease a while to fly and flutter in the air, that I may see my love's dwelling place. And this is my version in calligraphy. And it just reads from top to bottom, right to left.
Hello, my name is Shahida Ufin, and my focus was the Heian period. The Heian period was one of, if not the most influential era, covering the years of 798 to 1185. In the era, it was noted as the peak of imperial power, as well as highly influential in terms of art, and mainly poetry and literature. There was also, Chinese culture at that time was also starting to come in, so that also became a big part in their poetry and literature. Four noted pieces of work in this era were the Tales of Issei, the Kokinshu, Tosa Diaries, and the Calligraphy. The Tales of Issei is a compilation of stories detailing the life of Awari no Narihira, and at the time this book was believed to be written by Narihira himself, and is also composed of a bunch of waka poems by Narihira and other poets. The Kokinshu is a compilation of ancient and modern poems, and was thought to be completed in the year 905. It contains to this day 1,111 waka poems. And originally it was to be completed by Kino Tonomori. However, he died before it could be completed, leaving his son Kino Tsukimura to complete it. The Tosa Diaries was at the time the first, and it was like the beginning of a lot of works done by females who at the time didn't really do literary work. It details the return of the governor of the Tosa province to Kyoto in the year 736. And at the time it was written, it's written in the point of view of a female, and in the style of female writing, which at the time was really unheard of. So it's believed that the governor himself, Kino Tsukimura, was the one who wrote it. And because he chose to write in the style of a female, instead of using kanji form, he used the kana form of writing. The Kagura Niki, which is the last of the four noted books in this era, is written by a female who is only known as the mother of Michisuna. Though the date of completion isn't really clear, it covers the years 974 to about, not 974, excuse me, about 746 to about 769. It details her life it details about her unhappy marriage to her husband, Fujiwara Kimise, and it also details about how life was for noble women in that era. This poem here is done by Ono no Komachi, who was not only one of the 36 poetry immortals, but also one of the 6 greatest poets of the Heian era, which is a really high feat for any female. It's read Omoi Susu Nureba ya hito no Mie suba ma su Mie subamu excuse me, Yume to shiriseba samezara mashio. And in English it's translated as, thinking about him I slept, only to have him appear before me. Had I known it was a dream, I should never have woken. And this here is my calligraphy writing. It's from right to left, going down, and that's my name.
Alright, my name is Patrick Stewart, and I did the Kamakura period. The Kamakura period is first and foremost the rise of the samurai, and also the rise of the imperial seat as known as shogun. And usually like all other seats of government or real high seats, there's usually somebody that always tries to take over power or become more powerful than the person at top. And the regent did that exact same thing. He made the shogun become nothing but a powerless figurehead. And because of that, more strings of shogun became popping up and more regents, and that sparked into a war. Before the war, the emperor at the time commissioned a new collection of a new poetic anthology by the name of Shinko Kenshu, which is translated roughly as New Collection of Ancient and Old Poems. And he made a specific bureau of poetry, which he assigned 6 people, and Fujiwara no Sunze and Fujiwara no Teika were 2 of the most famous out of that. Fujiwara Teika was born in 1162, and his father was Fujiwara no Sunze, and also the priest Gakuin. He was also part of the six that compiled Shinko Kenshu, and he was his Teika's adopted brother. The priest Gakuin, he wrote this poem, which I like very much, and it says, Sabashisa wa sono iroto shimo nakarike makitatsuyama no aki no yugure. And it translates, the loneliness does not originate in any one particular thing. Evening and autumn over the black pines of the mountains. And this is not calligraphy of it. So I did Muromachi period. The Muromachi period lasted from 1336 to 1573. I didn't really do a lot of history, but I did mine on Nijo Yoshimoto. He was born in 1320 and died in 1388. He was the son of the regent Nijo Michihara, or Hira. He was a Japanese kuyo, or member of the noble court. He believed himself one of the major waka poets, but everyone remembers him as a Renga master. He held the title of regent 3 times. 2 of the well-known titles in the Muromachi period were The Tales of Idleness and The Exile of Emperor Go-Daigo, which is what Masukagami is. It's the tale of the exile and a bunch of other events from 1180 to 1333. It starts off with the ascension of Emperor Kotoba after he dies, and the exile of Emperor Go-Daigo. It is one of the 4 books of the Mirror series. It's also Okagami, Imakagami, and Mizukagami. I did my poem on one of the poems he wrote as he was being taken to Oki, which is a temple in a very desolate island, I guess. he was regent of Kyoto, and after a few romances, he was exiled. So Masu Kagami was about romance mainly, and then the exile. He was, after his supporters' influence, he was able to return as regent, and then he died at the age of 69. I did my poem. It's Isui ni kaku, shizumi hatsubeki, mukui araba, ue naki mi toa, nani umao, nani umao, rei teno. Yeah. And it translates into, if it's my fate to terminate thus my days in the depths of ruin, why was I ever born sovereign supreme of men? And this is my calligraphy. It's done in hiragana from right to left. And this is my name.
My period was the Edo period. It's from lasted from about 1600 AD to 1868. And this is the guy I did mine on. His name is Matsuo Basho. He's allegedly the most famous poet of the Edo period. He's actually credited with popularizing the haiku poetry form of 575 to such a degree that even to this day and age it's the most popular Japanese poetic form all over the world. And this is his most famous haiku, possibly of all time, unanimously from everything I read. This is it, and it's incredibly to the point. Not much to say really, but in the Japanese, in hiragana at the top, it goes as Furui ike ya kawazu to bikobun nizu no oto. And the English is the ancient pond, a frog leaps in, the sound of the water. It's that simple. And this is my calligraphy of it. I chose not to put my name on it, and I don't know, I just like the aestheticness of just this empty space right here. So I let it be. But mine is also read traditionally from top to bottom and then right to left. And that's often how they wrote it. And these are my citations, but I have a little more to talk about him. One of the things he did and what really inspired him was traveling the country. He traveled all over Japan, but mostly to the north, which during his time, the north was still relatively natural and a little bit undeveloped. So he would go and he would observe nature and things like that. He would often spend a lot of time in places like in that pond, where he just sat there, I'm sure, for many hours at a time, and then saw a frog jumped in, and it inspired him to write this very, very short poem that apparently was so substantial that people remember it to this day, and they erect statues of him all over the country. His impact is still felt to this day. And that's it. Thank you all for coming, and we have, since we managed to finish a little early, Daisuke Teramoto and Anna Hunt, they can actually show you some calligraphy if you like, show you how to do it, maybe your name in Japanese, anything you would like. So they're right here, and
very good. Well, thank you very much. Do you guys have any questions at this time, perhaps before you move into the next name writing and other details? If you have any questions, feel free to raise up your hand and just ask it.
take a look at it.
You're never going to see me humiliate myself like this again.
This is true.
Yeah, this is a long time failure. Just watch.
The masses.
Yeah.
What kind of faith do you people have in people? The joke's on you. I don't get humiliated.
彼の名前をカタカナで書いてあげてくれる？
Walter?
Walter?
Okay, this one says Via Butler. So that's the translation into. You can try one. Can I hold it? So as you can see, this is the katakana, since her name is in English, and we can translate that in kanji version.
So this is your name and katakana.
So this is kanji.
Should I probably go with
Okay.
Should I probably go with blue?
Yeah, also I didn't mention, when you write hiragana to kanji, it kind of makes the symbol a lot smaller. So when this is saying dream, but if you write this down in hiragana, which will makes it 2 symbols instead of 1 symbol. So kanji kind of makes it compact, small. Oops. Thank you. That's good. That's good. Oh my gosh, okay. You're showing me up, Walter.
I'm showing you up. Let's see, was it this one or this one first?
Yeah, this one.
You got it. You want to try kanji symbols? You want to try other symbols? Sure, that's fine. You want to try dream? Do you want to try it? Yeah, you want to try it?
Sorry.
You can take this one. Thank you.
Yep.
Oh, never mind. You can take this. You want to take both of them. Okay. Thank you.